We are Chris Lee and Blake Lovell of Southeastern 14, presented by Sports, here to preview the Orange Bowl, which coincidentally has a lot of orange in it. Clemson and Tennessee in a fun matchup, teams with a big contrast of styles. And also, Blake, as always with bowl games, the thing you watch is who's not going to play that matters. And we've got a significant list here on both sides at this point.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I'm just gonna tell you right now. I know we make picks for every game, but I don't know what to do with this one because we're still, I know a couple weeks out, and
December 14th.
I mean, look, we do these at a time because we just have a lot to do, and so we try to get out ahead of these. But the problem, of course, you run into is you don't know who's going to play. And even at this point, there have been guys that have opted out, but there are still other guys that probably won't play that we maybe expect to play. But for Clemson, of course, Miles Murphy, pretty much a top 10 projected type guy in the NFL draft. He's declared won't play. Looks like Trenton Simpson has been dealing with an ankle injury, something like he's their second leading tackler. So I'm not sure if he'll play either. We don't know that for sure yet, but of course we just have to throw all these things out there because you try to cover your bases. Then of course for Tennessee, Cedric Tillman's not going to play. I think Jalen Hyatt, as of several days ago, was still kind of, what was it? I think the phrase was 50-50 on whether he would play, maybe go to the draft. Again, I have no inside information, but I would just tend to think, Chris, that I don't know what he gains probably by playing in the bowl game.
He's a first rounder more than likely.
I mean, there's just so many things like that. So as always, and it's a much deeper discussion, right, about the state of bowl games in college football.
We've ruined bowl season.
I mean, there's no way. How can we possibly tell you that we have a good grasp on this game when there's so many different players that are not there? Of course, Clemson, starting quarterback basically the entire season, he's transferred. So Tennessee's offensive coordinator, there's just so many pieces that are not going to be on these teams that were there during the season. So.
Well, and we will break down the numbers, and we'll give them because I guess that provides some basis for comparison. Man, I don't know. We'll do our best here. When Clemson's got the ball, the Tigers are averaging 34.7 points a game. Tennessee giving up 23.5. Clemson is pretty balanced. It tries 40 rush plays a game and 37 pass plays. On those, the Tigers averaging 5.2 yards per rush play, 6.2 per pass play. Tennessee's run defense has been kind of underrated, giving up 3.9 per rushing play, 6.5 per passing play. I know the Vols' pass defense has been much maligned, and I'm not telling you there's nothing there. But again, a lot of that is because Tennessee snaps the ball 157 times a game. That's a joke, but you get what I'm saying. And so there's going to be more yards against you. Per play, they're not as bad as you might think based on stats. Still not a good secondary, I get it. But just for context, there's that. Tennessee's picked off 9 balls. Clemson has thrown 8. Clemson's lost a dozen fumbles. But here's the thing. DJ Unga-Lalele, I think I've got it right, their quarterback, is not going to play in this one. And so that changes a lot of what probably Clemson's offense looks like. I guess a lot of people think they're better off with other options anyway.
Yeah, I mean, he's transferred, so it's like, he's out of the mix, and so now you know for sure, and I know there was a lot of frustration for Clemson fans throughout, the season kind of, there was a lot of talk just about kind of the state of that position, and, Cade Klubnik now is the guy, and, like you said, it's just trying to figure out what do you see from him going up against the Tennessee defense that, like we said, has certainly not been invincible. And has given up some points, and so I think that's something you look at here entering this one. And obviously, again, it's just I'm trying to find different things here, but it's like Clemson's offense was not perfect, right, by any means. It was nothing, maybe wasn't kind of vintage Clemson offenses this season in terms of maybe some of those in the past that you looked at and felt really confident about what they could accomplish, but still, again, I think you look on the other side and I mean, you still feel like Tennessee probably is going to give up some points here just based on some of the defensive numbers. And so we'll see, can the passing offense, which, was not a strength of Clemson this season, can they exploit some of those things in the secondary for Tennessee? Because like talked about with the stats, I mean, Tennessee was good against the run this year. And I think we talked about that quite a bit. But, can they beat them through the air? That's clearly, I think, your focus here for Clemson in terms of their offense and what they'll try to do. But I mean, again, also they're going to try to run the ball some too, because they
With
obviously
Shipley.
can do that with Shipley. I mean, that's where again you're not going to just completely take probably your best guy out of the equation there either. So that will be something where I think they'll get a little creative. Would be my guess in trying to figure out the best way to kind of approach the Tennessee defense, which again does have some areas I think you can attack if you're Clemson.
Yeah, I'm looking. I don't think Tennessee's missing much on the defensive side. Again, we're doing this December 14th, so something could change between now and then. So don't kill us if it does. I mean, Tennessee gets the job done. I guess not really much with standouts, but it's just got some good players. I guess Tyler Barron's probably as good as they've got. Again, I do think that the Tennessee defense has been a little bit underrated. Um, the passing stats, some of that's volume, but anyway, we've hammered that to death. We'll talk about the other side of the ball, but before we do, Stakes is our presenting sponsor. You can bet sports better than the crowd for a chance to win NFTs. With Stakes, players can submit their sports predictions against friends, other fans, and influencers forever. Don't let your sports genius go overlooked. Join Stakes and have the best predictions captured in the moment. Go to playwithstakes.com/14. Use our invite code Southeastern14 for a double welcome bonus. Okay, when the Vols have the ball, I don't know how relevant some of these numbers are going to be for either team because of the opt-outs, both on Clemson's defense and Tennessee's offense, but here they are. Tennessee scoring 47.3 points a game, Clemson giving up 20.1. Clemson has recovered 8 fumbles. The Vols have lost 8. Clemson has 13 picks. Tennessee has only thrown 3. The Vols have been sacked 23 times. Clemson has registered 24 sacks. Per rushing play, Clemson giving up 3.9 yards, Tennessee averaging 5.6, Tennessee averaging an astounding 9.3 yards per pass play, but Clemson only giving up 5.9. Clemson on a per play basis was really good. I thought that team was kind of overrated much of the year, and maybe it was. But, again, Tennessee will not have Hendon Hooker. It had Joe Milton. Its last time out in which it beat Vanderbilt, what was it, 55-0 or whatever. And Milton looked pretty good in a rainy game that night. Tennessee's got a couple of really good running backs led by Jabari Small. Again, the receivers are the issue, whether you see Hyde or not. Whether you see Tillman, well, actually, Tillman's already said he's out. You still got Brew McCoy, I would presume. Princeton Fant, their tight end, can do some things. And again, that running game, I think people tend to think of Tennessee as a passing team, but Tennessee actually attempted 39 runs per game as opposed to 35 pass plays.
Yeah. Good luck, I guess, trying to figure out. Tennessee's gonna have tempo, but I think beyond that, I don't know what to expect offensively. Joe Milton, I think, is certainly someone that can throw the ball, 100 yards, but what do we really have, I guess, to go on, right? We have a one game sort of sample size this season. Now, again, that's not him being involved in a lot of those blowout games where, he throws 7-8 passes or something, but really have one game as 11 of 21 against Vanderbilt, 147 yards and a touchdown. I don't know. Again, what do we take away from that? But like you said, I think Tennessee certainly can still run the ball, and that was kind of shouldn't have been a secret. But like if you actually watched them play, it wasn't just the passing attack; it was their ability to run the ball too that really helped them out. And yeah, I mean, it's like we know Tillman's not playing. If you had to ask me right now, just to make a wild guess, I would assume Hyatt probably doesn't play. So that takes basically 15 touchdowns from Hyatt out of the mix. And, Tillman had 3. We had some injury issues too. But those are two really talented players. So what does the Tennessee passing offense look like against a Clemson defense that we mentioned earlier? If Trenton Simpson dealing with an injury, if he doesn't play, that's 73 tackles, 2.5 sacks. We'd already know Miles Murphy's not playing 6.5 sacks, so that takes away some of the pressure from a guy like that. So I don't know, Chris. I mean, it's like I don't know.
Well,
Like,
on the other hand, I don't see, is Clemson missing anything of the defensive backfield? Because that I mean, and I know,
yeah,
look,
because
you cannot separate pass rush, I guess, sometime for defensive back play. I'm just trying to find some insight at a time where it's going to be really tough to give it, because they were good against the pass, and Joe Milton's got a strong arm, but you don't always know where it's going to go.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think Clemson was probably better against the run, and like you said, I think that I think they can be a little vulnerable there. But like you mentioned, I just don't know what to expect from Joe Milton in not even in an offense that that we're just saying Joe Milton's a quarterback. It's Joe Milton a quarterback without maybe his top two weapons, or whatever, two of his top three, and I think that
In terms of receivers, yeah, because
right in
they do
terms of
still have
receiver,
some weapons at running
yes,
back. Yeah.
understood. Yeah, it's just I think in terms of the passing game. So yeah, I say all that to say that I think we know what Tennessee's attack's going to be. They're still going to, again, I know, offensive coordinators at South Florida now, but it's like Josh Heupel still knows what he wants to do offensively, and they're still going to run their offense. It's just, will they be as efficient as they were before? Probably not without Hendon Hooker, but at the same time, they're going to run their stuff. And I think just being able to try to attack Clemson through the air, because I think running against them will be tough. Teams only give up basically top 10 rushing defense somewhere in there. So yeah, I think that's clearly the plan for Tennessee.
Yeah, and let's not forget Clemson. Again, this won't be the same team, but did only give up 10 points to a pretty powerful North Carolina team after that really disappointing loss to South Carolina to end the season. Gave up 16 to Louisville, which isn't great offensively, but not bad. Here's a common thing. I'm looking down the schedule. Clemson didn't play a lot of phenomenal offenses. When they did, they gave up 45 to Wake, 28 to Florida State, which is pretty good. 35 to Notre Dame. Notre Dame's bread is buttered more on the defensive side. Yeah, I mean, Clemson is, even with some of these stats, Blake, they were pretty erratic against some of the better teams. And maybe I'll move that forward into our picks. And before we do that, we'd like to wrap up with a few things. Penalty yards. Clemson's been a little more disciplined. 49 penalty yards a game. Tennessee 67. FEI special teams rankings. Clemson 43. Tennessee 34. The Vols have got a little bit of explosiveness in the return game. Strength of schedule. This is according to ESPN's FPI. Tennessee at 8. Clemson at 58. And our rankings in our Southeastern 14 composite, Tennessee 5 and Clemson 11. That's a ranking or a composite of 4 computer rankings we like. The line on this, Clemson by 6.5 with a 63.5 point over under. That lends to a final score of 35 to 29 in Clemson's favor. What are we thinking here, Blake?
I'm thinking if we the way we should have done this is, people do the confidence pools or like the bowl season or whatever. You put your,
No confidence.
yeah, say this would be probably bottom 5 for me, maybe bottom 3 in terms of confidence in how this game plays out. I mean, let's just call it what it is. Anybody who says, here's exactly how this game's going to play out, they're lying to you, because there's no way to know, I think, with just how different this game's going to be without the offensive playmakers for Tennessee, without some of the defensive playmakers for Clemson. I just think there's so many unknowns. But what we do know is that I think Dabo's been pretty good in terms of, I'm looking at the Action Network here. He's 12-6 against the spread in bowl games. So I mean, that's a high number though, right? 6.5. That's but again, I think a lot of that
bowl games now and bowl games 15 years ago are also very different.
No, well, that's true. Very true. If you're looking at coverage here, some of the interesting stats, I guess we could go for Clemson 4-0 against the spread in their last 4 bowl games. So that's something worth noting. There's not really a lot of other interesting trends if you're a professional bettor. We are not. but we just kind of throw out some of these stats. I don't know, Chris. I mean, honestly, like, I don't love anything about any of this. Like, I don't love the over under. I don't love the spread. Like, I don't even love picking a winner. Like, I just think
Yeah.
there's way too many unknowns with this game.
I'll
If you
tell you
had
what,
to ask
I'm
me,
gonna do you a favor. I'm gonna give you a minute to buy some time to think this through.
I don't. You could give me a half hour, 6 hours. Like, it ain't gonna matter. But go ahead.
Well, I'm gonna give it to you anyway because we need to get in a word from our sponsor, BROTHROW. If you hate betting $11 to bet 10, you're gonna love BROTHROW. It lets you bet on all 50 states. It's not the house, so bettors have a fair chance of winning. It's the only sports betting platform that doesn't take a cut of every bet. No deposits, no minimum bets, no need to connect your bank account. Bettors pay each other directly. It's a hassle-free sign-up process that lets you get in the action in seconds. Go to brothrow.com/SE14. You can see that in the link below and join our community. We're just getting started and set up. So get in and get signed up there. Okay, Blake, I will go first.
I've got my pick now, so I'm ready. Whenever
Okay.
you're.
Well, I'm going to take Tennessee to win straight up. Again, I would give that as a very low confidence pick. I just look at what Clemson did against who it did it against. And I know Tennessee's a much different team, but they came in and beat a pretty hot Vanderbilt team with a lot of guys out, with Milton at quarterback. I just see what Clemson did. I think some of the stats, and I know Clemson's really talented, but I wonder if some of those were propped up against weaker offenses. Josh Heupel is still a headache to coach against. I'm going to take Tennessee over under. I have no clue.
You know what? I'm going to pick the team in orange. Whichever team wears orange in this game, give me them. I don't know, man. We're going to let you just have the pick on this one because I think I would actually, and this is going to be, I know people are tired of me picking Tennessee. I picked Tennessee, I think, the entire season, basically. I guess I'll pick Clemson, like, just to be different, but like, I don't know, man. Here's the stat
I'll be
I
on
just
it.
saw.
6.5 for Clemson seems
Well,
really
yeah.
high to me.
I would not pick this. Let me get me wrong. I would not pick the spread in this. Like, there's no way I would do that because that may even go up to 7 by the time this game's played. But I would not touch the spread. But I know we have to like pick winners, right? And we always say Vegas feels like Vegas knows something when some of these. Although I think bowl games are harder to predict, but that's a high number for it to be at this point. But I think again, a lot of that has to do with the opt outs on Tennessee's part. And I think that's why it's leaning. And look, Clemson's not Vanderbilt. Let's call it what it is. Like it's a different game, too, and it's a different kind of preparation. You have more time to do it, but it's a different kind of challenge, I think, for going up against for Joe Milton going out starting a game against Clemson versus Vanderbilt, and just without perhaps two of his top however many offensive weapons, that could be significant. So. I don't know. If you're looking for interesting stats, here's one I just found. Tennessee is 2-11 straight up in their last 13 games as an underdog. So, so that's something else that's kind of interesting, I guess you look at. But it's a different look. That's how many times Tennessee been an underdog, right? Recently, I mean, it hadn't been very often.
Not
so,
Alabama,
yeah. So
were they an underdog against LSU? I don't think they were.
No, I don't think so either. But like that's
Georgia,
why you can't just look at those kind of numbers. You have to go deeper because again, it's not like Tennessee's been an underdog a lot lately. So
yeah,
I don't know, man. I said I picked Clemson. Now I want to pick Tennessee. I don't. It's just it's a game I'm completely staying away from. So,
but let me ask you something because we're doing this on December the 14th. The Murphy opt out was last night, I think, unless he had opted out before that and it just hadn't gone public. I don't know that the markets have really factored that in yet because I think the spread is the same today as it was yesterday.
Well, and again, you don't know if Simpson, we said it's a significant, if he doesn't play, that's significant too, because he's our second leading tackler. So maybe, and you're right, it may be something that factors in. So I don't know. I just, yeah. We probably look and people are like, why don't you just wait and do this preview? Because again, we just got so many things we have to do. We have to preview every single bowl game, and SEC teams are in
we'll
a
do
lot
a
of
live
these
stream
games.
between now and
the
game anyway.
Yes. So hit that subscribe button. We will do a lot more updates on this game. We'll have a much better feel closer to time, but we always do these early previews just to kind of give you our initial thoughts. But it's bowl season in 2022, and good luck if you know who's playing or who's not, even a week out, basically, it feels like. So this is our best analysis we can give you.
Pick the team in orange.
That's what's said. If you pick the team in orange, you're not going to lose, I don't think. Who's the home team technically in this one? Because I assume they're going to be wearing orange. So I think I need to find that out. But there you go.
Well, one more
Clemson's
thing.
the home team. They're going to wear orange.
The spread sort of, because I'm usually pretty good at guessing about what something's going to be. I thought that Tennessee would probably be favored in this game. When Tennessee was not favored, and not only not favored, but it was 6.5, that kind of made me do a double take. And the one time that happened with Tennessee this year was the line in Athens where it came out, I think 12.5 for Georgia. I thought it would probably be closer to maybe 5 or 6 at the time. And so that does give me some pause. It's like, what does Vegas know here? But I'll also say this, the Vandy Tennessee line, I think, was 14 after Tennessee had everybody and their brother opting out. Tennessee had lost at South Carolina the week before and had really lost most of what it had to play for. It showed up in a big way in Nashville and just beat Vanderbilt to a pulp. So those are two, I guess, contradictory data points. Take them for what they're worth, but we try to bring up everything here.
Give me Tennessee plus whatever, but I don't have any feel about anything. I don't know if they're going to win the game. I have no clue, but yeah, man, this is this is a tough one. So good luck to everyone involved. So
we will circle back with this later. Best way to catch that, hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching. He's Blake Lovell. I'm Chris Lee of Southeastern 14. We'll see you soon.